It is a right transcribed into the very fabric of our culture and our Constitution, the right to bear arms.
There's only a certain number of things that were put in the Constitution by the founders, and they put a right to bear arms in the Constitution for a couple reasons. First of all, they were just finished a violent revolution. You know, they overthrew an oppressive government.
And to understand just how many people enjoy that freedom today, here's a look at background checks for firearm purchases on what is typically one of the busiest days of the year for potential gun buyers, Black Friday. The previous record was in 2008 with just under 98,000 background checks. This year, the record was broken for checks in a single day with 129,166, a 32% increase from 2008.
I think right now the reason so many people applied for firearms licenses is they were afraid the Obama administration was going to take active steps to ban them.
And whether or not that's true, the gun-loving portion of America remains a group whose affection many would-be politicians often try to win.
We're Republicans. We should be better than that.
And I'll take dead aim at the cap-and-trade bill.
As the Second Amendment is increasingly celebrated and the number of gun owners expand, the right to vote, listed in the 15th, 19th, and 26th Amendments, is narrowing. And new policies and initiatives mean as many as 5 million eligible voters will lose that right to choose the next person to occupy the White House.
14 states which represent 2/3 of the Electoral College votes needed to win the presidency, have already passed several measures. These include restrictions on where people can register to vote, less time for early voting, and stricter laws requiring people to provide government-issued photo IDs.
African Americans or other racial and ethnic minorities are very heavily targeted. The poor, those who don't drive cars or have cars, are also very heavily targeted.
Hillary Shelton, Washington, D.C.'s NAACP director, says the policies harken back to the days of Jim Crow, bringing back old obstacles thought to be eliminated by the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
The most basic right of all was the right to choose your own leaders. The history of this country, in large measure, is the history of expansion of that right to all of our people.
A history now reversing itself with new laws, also targeting convicted felons who have completed their sentences, have jobs, and pay taxes. In Florida, Iowa, Virginia, and Kentucky, anyone convicted of a felony has their right to vote denied permanently.
If the idea of prison is to rehabilitate, wouldn't one of the practices we'd want those in prisons to be able to master the process of participating in our electoral process?
Troubling for many in Texas as well, where you can't use a student ID to vote, but you can use a handgun license. In the words of Governor Rick Perry, who signed the bill,
it's the integrity of every vote, that every vote counts.
The question for many others, though, how many votes won't be counted because they were barred from being cast? In Washington, Christine Frizzau, RT.